Video number 7. You gave her your time, your energy, perhaps your heart. You thought everything was working out positively until she pulled away. Not an obvious reason, not a great explanation. Simply distance. You attempted to see, perhaps accused yourself, yet when you at last began continuing on, she returns, carrying on as though nothing happened. Sound natural? I realize it's confounding, I know it's baffling, yet here's reality. This isn't about karma, and there's actually no need to focus on affection. The manner in which you think it is. There's an example behind why ladies leave and return, and except if you comprehend it, you'll continue to get found out in the cycle. Yet today that finishes. In this video I will separate precisely why this happens, what it truly implies, and in particular the way that you ought to answer like a man who esteems his tranquility, his confidence, and his profound control. We should get into it. Number 1. She feels an excess of, then misses you. Feelings are erratic. In some cases they hit like a tempest, causing somebody to feel like they need to get away from. She could have left since she felt overpowered by the profundity of the relationship, by private battles, or by something she couldn't completely make sense of. Yet here's the thing about feelings, they change, and when the power blurs, she begins to miss what she had. The snapshots of solace, security and association start to re-emerge, and unexpectedly she's speculation about returning. It's baffling, isn't it? 1 second, she's profoundly associated, sharing her fantasies, snickering at your jokes, holding your hand like she never needs to give up. The following, she's far off, cold, uncertain. Then similarly, as you begin to acknowledge she's gone, she returns as though nothing happened. For what reason does this happen? On the grounds that feelings are brief and the vast majority don't have command over them. When she feels a lot on the double love-dread connection question, her psyche advises her to run. Yet when the residue settles, when the profound high or low blurs, she begins to reflect, and in that reflection she recalls your presence, the manner in which you caused her to feel the security you gave. Stoas is instructs that feelings resemble waves, they rise, they fall, yet they generally pass. In the event that you let yourself get found out in the tide of her activities, responding rashly every time she pulls away, you become piece of the profound disorder, yet assuming you stay consistent, unaffected by her approaching and going, she begins to see something else in you. She sees strength, she sees steadiness, and she asks why she at any point left. In any case, envision this: she leaves anticipating that you should pursue, anticipating that you should disintegrate, yet rather than arguing you resist the urge to panic. Zeroed in on your own way, you don't disregard her reality, yet you don't cause her non-attendance to characterize yours. That is power, that is self-esteem, and that is the very thing that settles on her. Second, conjecture her choice. The second she understands you are not hanging tight with great affection, frantic for her return, is the second she begins feeling the heaviness of what she left. The key isn't to rebuff her for leaving or to compensate her for returning. The key is to be unflinching in who you are, no matter what her decisions. She might go back and forth, yet your tranquility, your healthy self-awareness ought to stay immaculate. That genuinely makes a man indispensable. Number 2, she needs to check whether you'll pursue. Some of the time leaving isn't tied in with needing space, it's tied in with checking whether you'll come after her. She might be trying you, whether deliberately or subliminally, assuming that she pulls back and you promptly pursue her. You affirm her power in the circumstance. She knows that at any second she have some control over your feelings by simply pulling away. This makes an undesirable dynamic where she leaves when she needs consolation, realizing you'll continuously be there. Yet here's where it gets fascinating: she doesn't leave you. Notice she returns, and afterward then she pulls away again. It's a cycle. 1 second she's far off, and when you begin to acknowledge her non-attendance, she returns, going about as though nothing happened. For what reason does she do this? Since vulnerability energizes fascination, she's attracted to the pursuit, to the sensation of contemplating whether she actually has a hold over you, and assuming you generally answer the same way, pursuing, looking for approval, attempting to pull her back in. She never really feels the heaviness of your non-appearance currently. Here's where emotionlessness becomes an integral factor: when you quit pursuing, when you stay consistent, quiet and unshaken by her. Close to home variances, something shifts. You break the example. You show her that your inner serenity doesn't rely upon her presence or non-appearance. That is a strong message, as opposed to being somebody who responds to everything she might do. You become the one who stands firm, who won't be constrained by outer powers. As Epicus carefully said, any individual equipped for enraging you turns into your lord. When you let her activities direct your feelings, you give up your power. Yet when you stay created apathetic regarding the tempest she blends, you recover control, and that is the point at which she begins to address all that. For what reason aren't you pursuing? For what reason aren't you responding? Out of nowhere she's the One inclination dubious, contemplating whether she misconstrued your worth, and that is the point at which she begins to ponder. She anticipates that you should pursue to contact, demonstrate that she actually grasps your heart, yet when you don't, when you keep carrying on with your existence with reason, she starts to scrutinize her own decisions. For what reason isn't he pursuing me? Has he continued on? And abruptly the tables turn. You are presently not the one looking for legitimate, she is. This is the conundrum of fascination. The more you attempt to clutch somebody who is getting away, the more they get past you. Yet when you let go, when you embrace the unemotional attitude of separation and self-esteem, you become the sort of man she can only with significant effort forget, on the grounds that where it counts each lady hungers for a sufficient man to cherish her, yet never feeble enough to require her approval. Presently pause for a minute to reflect. Have you at any point been trapped in this cycle, pursuing somebody who wards pulling off just to acknowledge it, never prompts the association you really want? How could you handle it? Drop a remark underneath and share your considerations, or on the other hand, assuming that you reverberate with the unemotional methodology, leave this in the remarks: my tranquility is all mine. How about we perceive the number of us are recovering our power? Number 3. She believes there's something better. This present reality causes individuals to accept that there's continuously something better hanging tight for them. Virtual entertainment, dating applications, steady approval, everything makes the deception that the following choice is not far off, so she could forget about believing she's absent on something seriously intriguing, more energetic or different. Yet this frequently happens once the fervor of the obscure wears off. She understands that new doesn't generally mean better, that transitory fascination doesn't rise to profound association. Apathy instructs us that pursuing outside delights frequently prompts frustration. When you comprehend this, you won't want to demonstrate your value to somebody looking for something that doesn't exist. Time will uncover reality. Consider it. How frequently have you seen somebody leave something stable and satisfying just to return when they understand what they lost? Like the voyager ventures out from home persuaded that the following city will give more noteworthy joy, just to find that similar battles follow them. Any place they go, regardless of where they land, the excitement of freshness in the end blurs, and they start to yearn for what once felt recognizable and secure. This cycle, leaving, looking for, then returning, is frequently filled by vulnerability inside herself, not by anything you did or didn't do. She may have felt that affection ought to constantly feel elating, that solace implied stagnation, or that something better should be out there, yet reality has an approach to lowering the people who are continuously looking through. Now this is where your outlook matters. The Stoics advise us that we have zero control over others, just ourselves. Assuming that she leaves, let her. On the off chance that she returns, let her demonstrate through activities, not words, that she comprehends the contrast between transient energy and genuine association. Your true serenity ought to never rely upon another person's hesitation, as opposed to hanging tight for her to return. Center around yourself. Fabricate a day today existence so strong that whether she stays or goes, your establishment stays unshaken. Assuming she returns, you actually see esteem in the relationship. You can choose from a position of solidarity, not distress, and on the off chance that she doesn't, you will have proactively pushed ahead one way or another. You win. Number 4. She's tangled about what she truly needs. Perhaps of the most befuddling thing a man can manage is irregularity. One day she pines for opportunity, freedom, and space. The following, she's connecting, needing solace and consolation. This back and forward conduct isn't about you, it's about her. Subtle conflict, but it can feel individual, like you're being tried, led on, or trapped in a close-to-home game. Yet truly she may not completely comprehend her own decisions. A lady leaving and returning isn't generally about control. It's not unexpected, an indication of close-to-home vulnerability. She's conflicted between two clashing cravings, the requirement for freedom and the yearning for security. One second she persuades herself that she should be all alone, liberated from assumptions, yet when she steps away she feels the vacancy, the shortfall of your presence and the solace you gave. She contemplates whether she settled on the ideal decision, so she arrives at back out, not dependably in light of the fact that she's prepared, but rather in light of the fact that she's uncertain. This is how most men veer off track. They attempt to tackle the riddle, unravel each message, and respond sincerely to her shifts, yet on the off chance that you let her vulnerability control you, you'll wind up caught in the pattern of her hesitation. Apathy instructs that clearness and discipline matter more than attempting to control the activities of someone else. You can't drive her to decide, you can't moor yourself to somebody whose feelings resemble moving tides, as opposed to overanalyzing her reason. Center around your reaction on the off chance that she pulls away, let her in the Event that she returns. Don't open the entryway. Evaluate whether her return lines up with your qualities, your tranquility and your healthy identity worth. Marcus Aurelius once said. Th.